we started talking about R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cry is mute R. Kelly because black girls matter. Right?
And we do. And
You do. Why do you have to say? Why does it have to be verbalized? Black girls matter. Because the culture's behavior says black girls don't matter. And why? What helps this impression that black girls don't matter? The controlling image of the black female as hypersexual means that there's no such thing as the rape of a black woman. A black girl can't be raped because the black girl is the America's Jezebel. She's the slut, so she's free to be sexually exploited. This is the controlling image and the consequence of the controlling image. So Lucian Grange, who puts his stamp of approval on Twerk in 2019 for that song and that video to be produced, it was amazing to me until I figured out what's really going on.
Right.
Twerk reinforces the controlling image that the Jewish authors of the black image.
see, I think this is really interesting because I've also spent some time reading people's comments on Twerk. I've been reading various blogs, and there have been many Latino and black women who identify with Caribbean African cultures who said that this video really is a celebration of their identities.
Well, yeah, if you identify as a slut. And so we got to go back to the slut walk. See, this is why we can't play.
But how can that, okay, so you're going to have to clarify that, because I think when so many women are saying that this is part of their identity and that they feel empowered, or that they're from a culture that is Caribbean or African and this is what they do, and then we say, oh, that's just because you're a slut.
Yeah, no. See, Caribbean culture is as much slave culture as American black culture. Let's be real clear. Right? Our people in the islands as our people here in America, we are the product of American white supremacy. Our cultures were taken from us. We didn't come from Africa to the Caribbean twerking. Yeah, I know that there's some videos of some African dancing, but that ain't twerking. That ain't what you see on City Girls and Cardi B. That ain't twerking. That's not hypersexuality. We didn't come from Africa to the Caribbean twerking. We didn't come from Africa to America twerking. We came with the culture, and that culture was robbed from us, and we, in place of our indigenous culture, was grafted upon us this hybrid culture, hybrid of American white supremacy and our natural African retentions. So that's what we have in the Caribbean. So if a cultural staple is twerking, well, that's a problem. That's a product of American white supremacy, not a product of our indigenous culturality. So it is wrong. So this slut, I am not going to leave that slut walk alone.
Well, you know, people feel like that slut walk is empowering, and I stand by what I say, that I do think that it is important to create space for women to own their bodies in the ways that they choose.
Yeah, but you have a conflict that you really can't get out of with that.
And what is this conflict?
If slut walking is empowering, see, you know why what purpose the black slut serves for white supremacy? The myth of the virtuous white woman is reinforced by the controlling image of the black slut. See, white women aren't virtuous, but the universal white supremacist myth is that the white woman is virtuous. That myth is reinforced by the controlling, the artificially contrived.
But Amber Rose is white, and she's the founder of the Slut Walk.
No, but she is a part of black culture. Everything she does is black culture. It's hip hop. And so those who she's bringing to the Slut Walk are black people.
She brings there's a lot of diverse women that come into it, but
yeah, there's a lot of diverse sluts in the world.
It's hard for me I didn't call them sluts because when I read what they're saying,
they self-identify. This is why I call them sluts, because they self-identify. Be real clear. That's that's the dilemma you can't get out of.
But it's taking power away from you as a man, saying, "Who are you to say that that's a slut?" If these women are coming,
I'm not. You are.
But
you are saying,
but
they're taking
slut. They're taking it away. These are women who are saying that they're not allowing it to disempower them anymore.
So
they're changing the narrative.
Why take it as disempowerment?
Because you gotta understand you're a man. So when you say it, it's a little bit different.
Just like if I can call my brother as a term of endearment, nigga.
White people should be able to call you a nigga too?
Then I cannot cry when white people say it. No, that is a self-contradiction that must be called out and impeached. In the same way, you cannot self-identify as a woman. You can't self-identify as a slut and then get mad when a man says slut.
All right, it's getting
heated.
You're
either a slut or you're not.
So, remember, you can ask us live questions. All right, y'all.
But the connection with the R. Kelly,
right?
The Slut Walk and the R. Kelly situation cannot be overlooked. What do I mean? See, part of the narrative, legitimately so, of this R. Kelly situation is black girls matter. Why is that called raised? Because there's the apparent situation of black girls with indifference, impunity, being sexually exploited. And we are saying the sexual exploitation of black girls is wrong, and it is. But we cannot, we weaken our case when we say the sexual exploitation of black girls is wrong on one hand. Then on the other hand, we say black girls, you should happily identify as being a slut. No, ma'am. That is part of the problem. We should not encourage sluthood on black women. We should encourage the virtue of the black woman. And the reason white men kill black men for white women whose virtue is a myth. Right. It's a myth. But they kill concrete if it's black. They kill black concrete for the myth of white virtue. We black men in the black community, we don't kill an ant for our girls. Why? Because we bought into the controlling image of the black Jezebel or the black slut. And so when we promote to our girls Slut Walk, that is part of the problem. We can't have it both ways. We are either going to protect the virtue of our black girls by first acknowledging it, encouraging it, facilitating it, or we are going to continue surrendering them to the world as sluts or sluts in training.
I'd be really curious to have someone who's actually participated in the Slut Walk to come on and hear their thoughts on it. Because when I look into it, you know, the women say they're not encouraging women to be promiscuous, that they're encouraging women to own their sexuality and to negotiate sex on their terms with whoever they want, which I think is different than saying, hey, when you grow up, be a slut, girl, be a Jezebel. Yeah, but I think that's a little different.
Right, but that's like me saying, nigger has a specific origin, a specific context, a specific meaning. and I turn around and want to invest it with new meaning, right? So Negro and nigger means a dead black man. So I want to come in 2018 and happily proclaim myself as a Negro and say, or a nigger, and say, no, a nigger is a live black man. But even though I'm taking control of this slur, this insult, this bludgeon against me, I'm taking ownership of it, I'm reinventing it, I'm robbing it of what it actually means and putting my own meaning in it. So now I'm happy to be a nigger, but don't you call me a nigger.
So,
And you the one who gave me the name. See, there's a circularity, there's a logical fallacy in our thinking.
so can you connect this with how this relates to hip hop and the weaponization of hip hop? Because I don't want people thinking that the conversation is now no longer related to hip hop.
Well, we're talking about, when we talk about Amber Rose's Slut Walk, we're talking about hip hop. We're talking about City Girls and Cardi B and the twerk video, which was green lighted by Sir Lucian Grainge, the Jewish CEO of Universal Music Group, who was responsible for most of the weaponized hip hop. City Girls and Cardi B twerk is a modern example of what's described in great detail in this book by Jeffrey Melnick, Jewish himself, A Right to Sing the Blues.